Most people think retirement problems are about money. In my experience, they rarely are. The real problems are quieter. They sneak up on you in the first few months, when everything should feel like freedom. And the 5 things I am about to share with you, I did not read about them in any book. I lived them. And I watched hundreds of clients live them too. Most of them completely blindsided. If you are retired already, you will recognize every single one of these. If you are a few years away, pay close attention, because understanding what is coming will save you months, maybe years, of painful adjustment. I am Robert Hayes. I spent 38 years as a financial advisor. I thought I knew exactly what retirement would feel like. I did not. The first thing that disappears is your structure. And I know your first reaction is, good. For most of your working life, structure was the thing you complained about. The alarm, the deadlines, the meetings that stacked on top of each other until Tuesday felt exactly like Thursday. So when retirement arrives and all of that falls away overnight, it feels like freedom. For a few weeks, it genuinely is. But then something quieter sets in. Nearly a third of retirees struggle emotionally in the first year, not because of money, but because of lost routine. I had a client named Howard, 31 years running a manufacturing operation, retired at 65 with more than enough money and a long list of things he was finally going to do. He called me about 4 months in. He said, "Robert, I feel like I am disappearing, like a boat that cut its ropes and now has no idea which direction is shore." I did not fully understand what he meant until I felt it myself. Structure is not just a calendar. It is the invisible scaffolding that holds your days together. When it is gone, you lose the sense that your time has weight, that Tuesday matters. Howard eventually built a new structure: morning walks, a woodworking project, Wednesday lunches with his son. Small things, but things with edges. Things that gave his week a shape again. The structure does not have to look like work. It just has to be yours. The retirees who adjust best build at least 3 anchors into their week. 3 things that happen on a specific day at a specific time, no matter what. Start there. The second thing surprised me more than almost anything else I experienced in retirement. It was the disappearance of my sense of financial purpose, and I never saw it coming. For your entire working life, money had a direction. You earned it, managed it, saved it, grew it. Every financial decision pointed forward. And then retirement arrives, and the arrow reverses. Suddenly, you are not building anymore. You are spending down, drawing from accounts you spent decades filling. And that reversal feels deeply uncomfortable in a way most people never anticipate. My first year of retirement, I underspent by nearly 30%. Not because I lacked the money. I had planned this carefully. But every time I went to move funds for something that felt like a luxury, I heard this voice. "Are you sure? Are you sure you should be spending this?" Carol sat me down about 14 months in and said, "Robert, we saved this money to live, not to protect it until we die." She was right. The shift from saving to spending is not just mathematical, it is psychological. And the people who navigate it best are the ones who give themselves permission to spend before they retire, not after. Write it down if you have to. This money is for living. Then believe it. The third one caught me completely off guard. The urgency disappeared. And I had spent decades dreaming about that moment. For 38 years, urgency was the water I swam in. Something always needed to happen now. A client needed a callback. A deadline was 2 days out. That pressure was relentless, and I told myself I could not wait to be free of it. And then I was free of it. I remember standing in the kitchen about 6 weeks into retirement. Carol was at school. The house was quiet. a full day ahead with nothing that had to be done by any particular time, and I felt almost paralyzed. Not unhappy, just completely untethered from any sense of momentum. Here is what I eventually understood. Urgency was not just pressure, it was fuel. The thing that got you out of the chair and into motion every day. And when it disappears, the days start to blur into each other in a way that is surprisingly unsatisfying. You have to create low-stakes urgency for yourself. Make one commitment every week that someone else is counting on you to show up for. A standing lunch. A grandchild's game you promised to attend. A neighbor you said you would help on Saturday. It sounds almost too simple. But that is all urgency ever really was. Someone counting on you. In retirement, you just get to choose who that someone is. If you are within a few years of retirement, I want you to pay especially close attention to this next one. The fourth thing that disappears is the feeling of being needed. And this one tends to hit hardest for people who tied their identity to providing, to being the one who solved problems, handled things, kept everything moving. For decades, you were the person others depended on financially and professionally. The one with answers. The one who showed up and made things work. And then suddenly, nobody needs you to do that anymore. I watched my own father go through this. He had been a contractor his whole life, built things with his hands, put 3 kids through school, retired at 67 with a modest but solid nest egg, a wife who loved him, a house that was paid off. Within 2 years, he was anxious in a way I had never seen from him. Not about money, about his place in things. Like the role he had always known had quietly been handed to someone else, and he was not sure what role was left for him. I did not fully understand what I was watching until I felt a version of it myself. What I know now is this. In retirement, you do not stop being needed. You stop being needed in the way you were before. You are no longer generating the resource. You are the steward of it, the one who decides how it gets used, what it protects, what it makes possible for the people you love. That is not a lesser role, but it requires you to consciously claim it. Find one person or one cause that genuinely needs what you have. Your time, your experience, your steadiness. That feeling of being needed does not retire. It just needs a new address. The fifth one is the biggest, and it is the one that catches almost everyone off guard, no matter how prepared they thought they were. Your work identity disappears. For 30 or 40 years, the answer to "Who are you?" was inseparable from "What do you do?" The title was shorthand for an enormous amount of information about who you were, what you had built, where you stood. And then one day you retire, and the title is gone. Not gradually, overnight. I remember the first dinner party Carol and I attended about 2 months after I retired. Someone asked me what I did. Standard question. I had answered it thousands of times without thinking, and I hesitated. I said I was a financial advisor, retired now. The person nodded politely and moved on. And I stood there holding my drink, feeling like I had just described someone I used to know. That moment bothered me more than I admitted to Carol for a long time. Here is what I did not understand then. My work identity was never actually me. It was a role. An enormously important role for a long time, but a role. Who you are without it is deeper and more fully yours than any title you ever held. The problem is, most of us spent so many decades performing the role that we forgot to tend to the person underneath it. Start practicing now how you introduce yourself without your old title. Not your former job. You. Who you are. What you care about. What you are building. It will feel uncomfortable the first 10 times. That discomfort is exactly the point. I am Robert Hayes, husband of 44 years, grandfather, A man who takes long walks in the morning and has strong opinions about coffee, and is slowly learning that the quietest chapters of a life can be the most honest ones. It took me 2 years to say that and actually believe it. The strange thing about retirement is that nothing important actually disappears. What disappears are the structures that hid who you really were. The routine, the purpose, the urgency, the feeling of being needed, the identity. None of it is truly gone. It is waiting for you to rebuild it in a shape that finally belongs entirely to you. Retirement does not take your purpose away, it hands it back to you.